Okay, so it recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today. We're going to talk about is the pain of regret distracting you from your best self. What are we calling this blab these days, huh?
My purpose is because in my own opinion, and I love all my friends and the people that are joining us. And for me is the reason I have all those questions because I want to raise a question that provoking thought. For you, for me, for every one of us to think. We don't want to wait until 2016 and beginning to think what we are going to do. So the question is, have you regret about something? Because that is something that you need to think out loud and, to own it. Because if you own your story, you have the right to write your conclusions. You can write the last chapter. So let we examine our life. What have we done for the past 11 months? And what we regret that we have done and we have not done anything about that.
Tony says we started 1 minute early. Sorry, Tony. And so today we are talking about is the pain of regret distracting you from being your best self with author Ha Tran. So Ha, do you have your book handy? You should probably show it.
I do have my book, and my book is Empowered by Hope.
Empowered by 1 extra minute of free content. There you go, Jeremy. Empowered by Hope with author Ha Tran. And that book is available on Amazon, correct?
Yes. And also on my website. If you go to my website, I will send the book site and deliver. And, since you are there, you might want to sign up for a 30 minutes, have a conversation with me
and
about anything.
Is a personal coach as well as author. Her book, Empowered by Hope, is amazing. I have got it on my nightstand and I read it regularly. It's a very fascinating book, and it is about her journey to the United States during a very rough time. So I just want to say welcome, everybody. So let's title this Empowered by Hope.
Okay, let's Empower by Hope, yes.
Okay, let's title this Empowered by Hope. Even though we've been doing it for quite some time, I think we started out with a title, but I think we lost it by changing our topic each day, which is okay. So we're going to call this Empowered by Hope with author Ha Tran, and I am your co-host, Sabrina Watson. So,
Sabrina, you are my amazing co-host, and I would like for the world to know about you. Can you tell us about your life, or what is so exciting in your life lately for the past few months that you have to have scheduled for everything because you don't have time for?
Boy, you're always putting me on the spot. I got to tell you. So I recently launched a new website called networklivevirtually.com, where a number of the people that are in this room right now do attend virtual networking. And I'm going through my own transition. Ha seems to put me on the spot a lot. I'm going through my own transition of really trying to figure out who I am. I lost my mother in July of this year. We had a 5-year fight with cancer. We did really well because we had 5 years, and she was only given 4 to 6 months several times. And, I'm trying to develop my own persona and who I am and, give away all those pains of regret, which is what we're talking about today. So earlier this morning, I was on a blab with author Christy Smallwood, and she said I look great in animal print. So I think I'm going to become a lioness.
Oh, I like that.
I think I'm going to start wearing more animal print, although I love animal print and I wear quite a bit of it. But I think I'm going to start wearing more animal print because it also goes with jeans, right? And I'm a big jeans wearer. Well, that's if I put on pants at all. For those of you that know me now, don't take it like that. For those of you that know me, I live in Southern Florida where it's hotter than hell all the time. So it's rare for you to see me in anything but shorts and a tank top. I don't wear shoes because I'm constantly dying of the heat down here at 71 degrees. When I got up at 8 a.m. and it just goes up from there. I'm waiting for winter. It hasn't shown up. So enough about me, huh?
To those who know me, I quote a lot about Jim Rohn quote because I follow him and I read a lot of his books. So today the reason that I want to talk about regret is because Jim said that we must suffer by one or two things, and that is the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. And the pain of discipline weigh ounces, but the pain of regret weigh tons.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we beginning to go to 2016, I thought that we should unload or whatever that is, to let it stay with 2015 and start with the 2016 with a clear conscience, perhaps. Because in my book, in my hand, I have a book here, Letting Go of Your Bananas. How to become more successful by get rid of everything rotten in your life.
How do you get rid of everything rotten in your life? How do you work your way through that process, huh?
I just have a list of things and just get rid one at a time, because sometimes it's not easy to get rid of everything at the same time.
I spent 5 years taking care of my mother, as you know, that died of cancer. And I do talk to her every single morning and I say hello, but I also apologize to her every single morning for the things that I did that were not kind during those 5 years. So that regret that weighs heavily on me every day.
But you also need to remember that you have done everything you could within your power. You are a idea of a daughter with the other daughter or other in-laws. You are such a good person, knowing that you do everything that you could within your power and give yourself a break.
I know I need to learn to give myself a break. I want to read some of the comments that are over here real quick. Sean says, yes, somebody forgot to tell Florida the season changed. Yes, they did, Sean. And he also says, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. That's a quote from Don Miguel Ruiz, I believe. And he also says, how do you eat an elephant?
And that way,
make a change one bite, step at a time. Ruiz, something like that. Thank you, Sean. And welcome to everybody else that's here. You guys, we have a hot seat open so that Tran can put somebody else on the spot besides me.
but Sean is full of wisdom, because that's what he, when you said that, how can you get rid of your rotten bananas? Mm-hmm. One at a time. And like Sean said, eat elephant one bite at a time.
I usually eat my rotten bananas.
And then, I truly believe that in our life that we often regret of the thing we don't do. I don't think that we regret of the thing that you do, because when life give you when they give you an offer, you can accept it and go for it, or you just say no. And I think that that's something that we have to make the decision and to go through with it. And, and you already making that decision and live through it. And later on, if things come in and give you more information, that you can making the decision to change. But in the meantime, you make the decisions with the information you have at hand. I would like to see Sean jump in, or anyone, please.
Lisa says she lost her dad last year to cancer. Also, it is a process. Well, we got and Sean says he'll hop in just a few. Mm-hmm. So we do have an open seat. Lisa, you are certainly welcome to hop in. We do have an open seat, everybody, and we're going to talk about is the pain of regret distracting you from being your best self, with author Tran and personal life coach. And then she also does public speaking, by the way. So always looking for speaking gigs.
I loved you for that, and thank you for that. And today I'm not feeling very well, and as you're asking me, I said I will be heavy directed when I get on it. So please forgive me. But yeah, please come in and then share with us, because the regret, just like shame, that it thrive with secret. If you just say it out loud and let go. Because,
how do you know, huh? How do you know if the pain of regret is distracting us from being our best selves?
Because if you keep on saying that, okay, if I do differently, or if I have another opportunity to do something about it, I will do it. If you go back and rethinking what should you or what could you have done, that is the regret. That because you make some adjustment in yourself, that you said that, oh, I do something incorrectly or something not right. I would like to have the opportunity to do it over. But let go, because you don't want to go back and to maybe just for you to learn, to think twice before you do something, but never go back to relive that.
I think that my regret in this particular case is maybe a little different than other people's regret. I was in an unusual situation during the time where I had my mother, and I also had her husband, who is not my father, for those 5 years. And there are some very not nice things that I said to him, and some not nice things that I said to my mother about him. And while I regret having said or done some of those things, I'm not so sure that if I look back, I don't know that I could go back and change those, because he did things to provoke, and he brought out the very worst in me. And I don't know that I could have changed those. So even though I feel the regret, I don't know that I could have changed that situation, huh? So how do I deal with that? Even if I were able to back up, I don't know that I could have changed it.
You have say something is very hit me in the very deep level, because something that when you lost control the controllable, and when somebody puts the button and you react to it, and even though you want to thinking that person have done something and provoking that, but knowing that you also have a power to holding back or to not act that way. But the key thing is to acknowledge that, to forgive yourself. If you think that is something that you've done and you need to forgive yourself, and let do it and let go. Because it is something that you're thinking about that, and it's something that will eat you alive. Just like, whether you don't want it, or maybe you don't think that, oh, it don't bother me, or something rather. But remember, when it enter in your mind, it go into your heart, and it is something that it's a constant remind. That the thing that you think about. Bless yourself, forgive yourself, and let go. Because someone has told me once that is let go or be dragged. Because let
go or be dragged, huh?
Yes.
Well, that's a good philosophy right there.
Yeah, because if you can do something about that, do it. If you don't, let go. Let it go.
And I do need to let it go. But he actually had an action that he took every single day for the 5 years that he lived in my house. He performed an action, the exact same action, every single day, which he knew would provoke anger, not only in myself, but in my husband as well. So I don't feel bad about the response that he got. I only feel bad about the fact that my mother, who was terribly ill, had to watch this for 5 years. So I also want to read a couple things over here. So Jeremy, whoops, I lost some things here. Jeremy says we need to live without regrets and stop ourselves before saying or doing things we know we'll regret. I really don't regret what happened, okay, Jeremy. I only regret that my mother had to be witness to that and had to feel bad for the things that he did that caused the explosions in me that he wouldn't stop doing. Lisa says, my regret is a little different. My regret is not having the time to rebuild the relationship with my dad before he passed. I finally forgave him. He was an alcoholic after decades of internal anger. He never knew I had. Was finally in a place where I could rebuild, then found out almost immediately he had cancer and was only here for 9 months. The only peace I have is that I was able to be there for him. I want to say to you, Lisa, I do want to address this because I actually had almost the exact same situation. My father died 13 years ago from emphysema. And my father was an alcoholic and he was abusive. Not in the sexual sense, in the physical sense. I can remember coming through the door as a young girl, and I'm not even sure what age I was, and being punched in the face when I would come through the door. And I, like you, would feel the need to cry, except that I shut things down inside of myself to a point that I no longer cared about him. And I have never allowed those things to affect me. Well, obviously they affect you. You just don't know they affect you. But I returned when I moved away from home. And I didn't speak to him for many, many, many years. And I returned in the last 2 years of his life to care for him. Don't ask me why I did that. And I did care for him the last 2 years of his life while he verbally abused me and attacked me every time I would come to his house, calling me names. And I was the only person who ever showed up. His phone never rang. And the night that he died, I knew he was going to die that night in my heart of hearts. And he would not let me take him to the hospital. I could see the pain that he was in. And because he angered me, I said, all right, fine, be alone. And when I returned to his house the next morning, he had passed and I found him. So, Lisa, let it go, okay? And right, how you're going to help me let that go right now. I've never actually ever told anybody that story. Well, I've told a few people that story, but not very many. I've certainly never told that story publicly. But I knew that that man would die that night. And I found his body the next morning. So,
You know, see, now you said out loud. So that is the story, that your story, you own it. Now you can write the last chapter. You can write the conclusions. And however else you want to have it end, let it be, because that's the power in you. You know, Sabrina, I know you very, you in the short period of time that on the blab, but you are the most generous, kind person that I know. And, you know, in order for things to happen, you know, even though you might want to make the matter light, you know, but again, I think that it was more of that because I think it takes a lot more just to push a button. So,
you know, I work really hard to keep people from pushing my buttons, but yeah, there's still a hot temper there for sure, huh? And I have put everything about my father, including my father, in a box that I buried a long time ago, somewhere in my soul, and I've never let it back out. And that is the only way that I personally can deal with that. Is there a better way to deal with that? How do I deal with that?
You know, I don't know, but the way I dealing with life, you know, that my journey is pretty rough and tough.
Your journey was rough as well.
Yeah. So for me is I have to let go to the point that because I cannot do anything about it. I cannot control over of any event. For instance, I in my book, and I did mention to you a couple of times that when I have a broken leg and I get on the boat and people keep on pushing me and I have no control whatsoever, they keep on pushing me, come to the point that I landed at the bows of the boat near the engine hole, which is I almost die. But at that time, and then for the longest time, I hold that thought. I said, wow, people can be so mean. And I call that a host of people that it tremble on me. But, you know, now I look at the refugees, people come to America or try to get out of the country. And I come to the conclusion that those people don't didn't woke up that morning and said, okay, I have to tremble on her. I have to push her down to go there and here. But, because they run for their lives. They do what's best for them. And I happen to be in their ways. So now knowing that, and I just say, wow, that, they are not mean to me at all. They just run for their life and I happen to be in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I able to forgive them. Hey, Sean.
He's trying to come in. Sean has difficulty down there in Guatemala with his internet. So Lisa, I know that how you feel. I just want to let you know that I know how you feel. It's really, since I started this blab with Ha Tran, I got to tell you, I've put a lot out there and that I never actually ever thought I had the ability to put out there. And because as her co-host, she usually starts picking on me, for lack of a better term. Not that she's really picking on me, but you know what I'm saying. But it has felt really strange to put a lot of that stuff. I'm putting this stuff out there in the public. I don't even know who's going to see this blab. And that is strange. That's a strange feeling. That's not even like counseling. That's like standing out on the street corner and going, yo, here I am, and I'm broken, and I'm battered, and I'm beaten, and I'm doing the best I can. Right?
No, because the feeling of suppressing, it's just like, wow, it eats you alive, seriously. But when you're talking out loud and it's just like, kind of you get off your chest.
Well, Jeremy made it in. Hey, Jeremy. Sean is still trying. Good morning. What's happening with you?
Oh,
he sneezed and I get a cold.
Yeah. Trying to get my voice back.
Me too.
And there's Sean. Hey, Sean, you made it.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys this question, and I'm going to start with...
Let me jump in and say I'm sorry I took so much hassle getting in. I was trying to get the right microphone, and it's still not right, but oh well.
But I'm glad you are
here. It's not recognizing the right microphone, so my sound is terrible, and I don't usually like to go on with such terrible sound. But
oh well. Shit happens.
I caught Ha's show. I commented on a post for her recently, and she made a comment. We both made a comment on how we've missed each other, and so it's nice when I was looking through Blab and it's like Ha's shows today. I'm like, yeah, I get to be there.
I don't know whether I've been hiding or you've been hiding, but I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. So
me?
No, Sean.
Oh,
sorry.
Jeremy,
I feel like I haven't.
I've been.
Okay, that's the only thing that matters, that you made it. Okay, speak, my friend. What's on your mind?
Hey, Sherry. So, Sean Michael, why don't you answer the question for Ha? Do you have any pain of regret that is distracting you from being your best self?
No.
No.
Wow.
That is some powerful stuff. How about you, Jeremy?
I do, honestly. I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
Okay, good.
Are you willing to share it with us?
Well, some of it I've been able to let go of by writing it down and shredding it. Simply by getting it out, putting it on paper, shredding it, getting rid of it, unloading it. I have a friend that told me, and this was a very powerful insight. He said, we can all only carry one carry-on bag through life. We can't carry 25 bags. And I just realized the heavy weight that a lot of those regrets can hold and how powerful and liberating it is to let go of them. So I've had to let go of some, but honestly, sometimes I just feel like I can't forgive myself. I don't know why. I feel like I should have said something better, done something better, or not done something. It's just constant second guessing. The self-critic is very strong.
I agree with you, Jeremy. I wish that during the time that I took care of my mother, that I could have refrained from unloading on her husband on a daily basis, just so that she didn't have to deal with it. Not that he didn't deserve it, but I feel badly that she went to her grave knowing that there was this huge amount of fostered hatred that could not be overcome by either of us during that period of time. And I do want to say to Sean, I want to know, how can you just say no to that? When I ask you a pain of regret, do you have any pain of regret?
Years of concerted effort and work.
Really? Nothing, absolutely nothing. Don't we all kind of hold on to something a little bit? I mean, do we all kind of hold on to something a little bit? See, that's what I'm wondering.
No, I don't feel any regret, because you guys, when you and Ha were sharing, I've really learned to, and I just keep getting deeper in this and deeper in this and deeper in this with all the stuff that I'm just about finished reading The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and I've come across a coach called Michael Neal, and his teaching is all from 3 basic principles, and that our life is, a lot of us get caught up in the external circumstances. This person said this not nice thing, the weather's bad, but everything, it all comes from inside. And that's the pretense Michael is about. He actually calls it the inside out revolution, because it's basically flipping what we've all grown up believing on its head and turning it inside out. But some of the exercises, and one of the ones I was going to recommend that was super, super powerful for me, was those people who had hurt me, or those people I had hurt, living or dead, in my life or not, was sitting down and writing a letter to them. Similar to what you shared, Jeremy. Write it down. Read it aloud is another step. Burn it, shred it, get it out. Feel the pain. Feel the anger.
Right.
Let it flow and it's so easy to ignore our emotions. And I totally have been there. I was the biggest emotion stuffer there was.
Oh man, me too. And when it came to emotion stuffing, if you stepped on my feet the wrong way, I could throw up a wall that would throw you out of my life. Boom, done. Yep. And people used to say to me, I have never met anybody who could be so cold-hearted as you. Wow. But it wasn't that I was cold-hearted. That was my protection mechanism. That was me protecting me. That wasn't against you. That was running for my life.
Right, and that's part of the pretense of a lot of the stuff I've been studying is we don't have to protect ourselves. Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall. When people do dumb things or mean things, or like you were sharing, Sabrina, things that are intentional or seem intentional to provoke us, to push our buttons. Basically, I uninstalled all the buttons.
Well, I couldn't uninstall the buttons. I would have to uninstall the man, and that was not possible. And he knew exactly what he did every single day, and he did the same thing every day, and he did it on purpose. He did it
I posit it different, and I get that, Sabrina. I'm not discounting that, but the buttons are in you. So with work, we can deinstall them.
Well, and I would agree with that, except that in this particular case, he was feeding my dogs chocolate and cookies and things that I asked him repeatedly every single day not to do. And he did it intentionally. So it created a war in my house for 5 years. This war went on every single day. He would sneak and do it. And I mean, we all know what chocolate is for dogs.
Yeah. Poisonous.
So it was almost as if he did it. I don't know. I don't know.
And chocolate, that's kind of just to debunk that myth. Chocolate is not poison for all dogs. It can be poisonous to some dogs. I give my dogs chocolate when they get constipated. but not to discount. I understand what you're saying, Sabrina. You know, he knew you were clear that please don't do this, and he did it anyway. But the only thing we can change is ourselves and the way we choose to react to it. Or better yet, learning to not react, but to respond. And there's a big difference. React is that gut level instinct, that fight or flight stuff that says, I'm shutting you out, I'm going to sock you in the face.
Well, you know,
and that comes from experience. Early in my marriage, my wife would look at me and she goes, you know, sometimes I just want to punch you in the face. And I'm like,
oh,
okay, what in the world did I do? Because, and like I said, I was an emotion stuffer. You said you shut people out and put the wall of silence up. Me, I just pushed it aside, just shoved it down. To the world at large, I was one of the most patient people they've met, the calmest, quietest, but I was that scary person, you know, who doesn't blow up, but when they do, it's like Vesuvius, you know, stand
that's
back.
Me. Well, no, my Vesuvius happens regularly.
Let's go back to what Sean said, the react and respond, talking about the medicine, the treatment. You know, it's some treatment that work well, that you respond well, but then you react. That means something that not very good, the medicine that give you some reaction. That's why you always remember that the respond is something very positive and react is something negative. And, you know, the combination between Sean and Jeremy, yes, when I talk to my clients, I have them write the letter and I want them to burn it because they read out loud and they burn it. Let them, and then they will see all of that go on to, you know, to smoke. And that's very helpful to, they come back to me and they said that very helpful. They feel better.
And you can do that with your regrets. You know, you can write that letter to a loved one. I was part of a prison ministry, and that was that same exercise. We would give them a small slip of paper, and they could write down, you know, a regret or, you know, a person who had hurt them or any number of things, any kind of thing like that that was like poison, because it really is. This holding regret and bitterness and anger is like swallowing the poison and waiting for them to die.
Right.
And
I expect them to handwritten. Handwritten. I don't like typing.
Yeah, no, it has to be handwritten.
What if you want to write the letter and mail it?
Mail it.
No.
Destroy
it. That's your call.
Destroy the letter.
That's your call. I wrote a letter to the man who had molested me when I was 16. I wrote a letter to my father, who I can't pin it down, but I believe there was something. It's one of those memories, like I don't have the clear memory, but I can see, like, after a point in my life that certain things happen, and it's like, you know, it's clear that something, it was one of those things that as a child, children just don't do this. You know, there's certain things that kids do. You know, they play doctor and they do other things. But there was just things that I had done in my childhood, and I'm like, I'm scratching my head as I'm working back through all this stuff, and I'm like, that isn't just something, you know, and we're talking the 70s. So we're not talking about the influence of TV and video games like there is today.
Right. Well, I hear you.
Things were a lot different then. So to sit there and look at my childhood and go, where the hell did I learn that? But even acknowledging that, you know, I don't have to acknowledge exactly what happened. I just know that something's happened, and then I can give the forgiveness to this person. I don't know who. I don't know. I don't have to know, but to offer that forgiveness, because that forgiveness is for you. When you offer forgiveness, it's for you. It's not about, did they try to make up? Did they say I'm sorry? It's not even about repairing the relationship. You know, I had somebody I had to offer forgiveness, and I couldn't even be around him. I initially, because I was early in my forgiveness journey and learning how to forgive properly, I thought, oh, you know, I gotta forgive, and, you know, live and let live, forgive and try to make friends again. And that person who, I was being friendly and personal. I didn't seek them out, but like if I saw them at church, I'd say, "Oh, good morning, how are you?" And then they came back and they did ugly things again, and I'm like, and I actually talked to the pastor that I was working really close with, and she said, "Honey, forgiveness doesn't mean you let them back in."
Okay, good, because I needed to hear that.
Forgiveness means you just let them, you cut the chain that they're bound to you with. You get them, you don't let them stay in your head and in your heart.
Or in your
you don't
life.
Let that pain in your life.
Right.
You don't have to. The stages is there's that first level of forgiveness, which is just like, I'm letting it go. And it's not saying that what you did was okay or that I'm okay with what you did. It's saying, you know what? I deserve to do something back to you. Acknowledge that. You hurt me. You did me wrong, and I deserve at the deepest levels to pay you back. But forgiveness says, but I'm going to take the high road and not. I'm going to let it go. You hurt me.
This is very powerful.
Powerful stuff.
That was wrong. That was uncalled for. It was all that. But you know what? I'm not going to carry that anymore because I want my life to be better. And you know what? You can go on living your crap, but do it
John,
away from me because I'm not part here.
I used to dream about tying a rope around his arms and pushing him in my pool. That was a real dream.
Wow.
I dreamt it frequently. I mean, that's how volatile all of that became over the course of 5 years. Now, clearly I don't have what it takes to act on that, but I thought about it on a regular.
But today conversation, I hope that you get off your chest, and then Sean have offer a powerful way to handle it. You do it just for you, not for anybody else. And or you get write it, burn it,
Mail it.
whatever. But yeah,
But,
you just,
but as far
because,
as as far as sending it, my wife before her grandmother died, she sent the letter,
Really?
and she actually sat down with her mom. This was powerful. She sat down with her mom and started detailing like this. When you did this, this is how it affected me. When you did this, this is how it affected me. And it was revelatory because when she sat down and talked to her mom said, "No, honey, that isn't what happened." So half the time, or a portion of the time, we've just misunderstood it. But that was another realization in my life, is the way somebody perceives that I've treated them is the reality for them. Their perception is their reality.
Yes.
So whether I intended it to be offensive or not, they perceived it. So, I actually had somebody come to me and air an offense. And I said, "Look, I'm sorry if I offended you. I make no apologies for what I did because I didn't do anything wrong. But I do apologize that it offended you. I can't control that." And, I ended up having to sever that person from my life because he's like, "Oh, you're just being arrogant, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm going to let it go. I forgive you.
Wow.
And,
That's
he went on
golden nugget.
for years, like trying to backstab me every time I turned around. And I'm like, whatever, dude. I ain't got time for that. I don't, I want to live a joyful, fulfilling life. And so I'm not going to hang around that. And, although I will miss our friendship, I'm not carrying that load anymore.
Wow, that is another golden nugget. That is very, very powerful one, because that's their reality, and because that's how their interpretation, whatever the conversation or the relationship you have with them. And people, that person hold on the grudge that you not even notice. I mean, that's why that the thing like that. When you earlier you mentioned that when you drink the poison and you hope for somebody to die. Um, no, I think that's why transparency, communications. If somebody says something to you and you don't hear it right, and you said, okay, if that's what Jeremy have a blab on that, we're asking them, is that what I'm hearing right? Is that what you say? And let them correct themselves. Because if we just make assumptions, and anybody know that when you make assumption, that means you make an ass out of yourself. Because sometimes that it need to be asked and need to be clarified. And that's why, Sabrina, with all my love, let go, because you know that you say it out loud. That is no longer a secret, no hidden in any compartment in your heart. You already have it out. What they call the rabbit out of the bag or something. Let go, let it out, and don't hold it back. Don't even search for it anymore.
Nope, the rabbit's out of the bag. It's a good thing he's still walking around.
Yeah, the rabbit out of the bag. Because it's very powerful. The conversation we have is just, you have to do that just for yourself in the selfish way that you do it for yourself, not for anybody else.
Yep.
Sherry says,
and even just,
I was going to say, Sherry says, great.
I was just going to say, Sabrina, just
go ahead, Sean.
The joy of live stream, huh? I was going to say, even just having voiced it today, you're gonna feel a shift. I promise you.
I hope so, because it's still something that's in the back of my brain. It's not a pain of regret, but there's still an anger that hangs back there that I'm having a real hard time shaking. And actually, during that period of time, one of my dogs became ill and was expected to die from liver and kidney failure, and he would not stop. So I wasn't the only person in the house that exploded on him, but he refused to stop. So I can only feel that it was intentional. Obviously, from the moment my mother died, there hasn't been one moment of contact between us of any kind. He didn't even call me to tell me that he was sorry. I mean, it's that bad. But
no, and I don't doubt that.
So
and another.
Yeah.
And this is a relatively recent thing, because I did a lot of, like I said, years of hard work of working with therapists and in support groups and writing letters and letting things go. But this was a recent one in my studies of NLP. And one of the presuppositions, which is just, like the guidelines, is that everybody that we encounter in life is doing the best they know how with the resources they have. And that produced a major mind shift. And I used to, that actually just concretized a concept I had in my past, and that was, that it came through all the work, was, that person who cuts us off on the highway, or does something rude to us, like Ha was sharing in her story, trampling. We don't know what's going on in their life.
Yeah, you're so correct, Sean. There was a time in my life when you cut me off on the highway. We weren't done till I chased you down. But I have learned to let that go, and now I just go, oh wow, I'm sorry you're having such a bad day. I'll slow down a little.
Yeah, talking about Sabrina, I really want you to forgive me if I bring you any discomfort. But just like the thing you say it, just right now, it's just like in the pressure cooker. And then now you just have the lid open it. The steam will come out. I know that you don't feel it now, but in the future, or soon enough, you will feel better.
Well,
right?
you have been the lid opener in my life. You just didn't know it.
Oh, thank you. And let's say something a little bit funny here. I see I'm a Vietnamese person. I have kids, Asian American. And I didn't know anything about the finger gesture, anything like that when I'm driving. And then the guy passed through me and then he gave me the finger. And my son tried to protect me. He said, Mom, the guy just, that's nothing. He just said, you are number one. And then now I know it. It's just about, it's just, people are mean, and then see that person, he did that. And I didn't know it. Just like such a waste of his gesture, the way I look at it. So.
I see Steph with an F just joined us. Hey, Steph, are you there still? And there's a whole bunch of new people that have joined us in here. There's Elizabeth Green. Hello, Elizabeth. And, of course, we know Sherry's here. And there's a whole gob of new people that have joined us. Thanks, you guys, for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Empowered by Hope. With
Hope.
Coach Ha Tran. We're going to rename our blab to Empowered by Hope. We started out originally calling it Track, keeping you on track. But
okay, Sean already unpacked, and then Sabrina too. So let's unpack yours.
we're going to unpack Jeremy's
what
stuff.
can we do to
Unpack
help
my
you?
regret. I don't know which one to choose. There's so many.
Yeah, there's a few.
Well, like we said at the beginning, tackle one at a time.
Yeah.
One at a
because that's why we fail a lot of times at releasing this stuff and making positive change in our life, is because we try to take too big of a bite.
True.
And then that pain comes flooding back and we say, yeah, no. And we just back away from the whole thing.
Yeah.
But literally that
And in 2000.
acid that's sitting in our belly is still there eating at us.
Yep.
Yeah, because the 2016 coming, so we want to leave some baggage at the door before we enter 2016. And one thing is just like the time to shrug the dead weight on your back, and because when you're lighter, you can move faster. And but again, that's the question. If you want to share, fine. You don't also find. Because like I said, that is the pressure cooker. If you just open a little bit, the steam come out.
Sherry says, keep in mind, rather than telling yourself not to be angry, recognize the anger and then ask yourself why and how it can be addressed. The more you tell yourself to stop, the more you support it. What do you have to say to that?
I agree.
Totally agree with that, although I'm not
I
Ha.
agree with that.
In case that wasn't clear. And there's a powerful piece to that. Your subconscious mind is listening to you 24/7, and it has no filter. That's what your conscious mind is for. That's the filter. Your subconscious takes everything as truth, and it takes everything personally.
That you say.
That you say or that you hear. Because I actually was reading a story of a young man that had he wasn't a young man anymore, but he had a limiting belief that he could not have a successful business and successful relationships. So when he started approaching success in both of those arenas, subconsciously he started sabotaging one of them.
Mm.
And I know this because I live this. I actually talked with a therapist, and he was writing a book or bringing out a program called Chaos to Purpose. And what he shared with me is that in my life, chaos had become normal. So whenever life was going along smoothly, I was having a good relationship with my wife, work was going good, all these things were going, I couldn't handle it because it was out of the norm for me. So subconsciously, I would do something to stir up the pot and get the chaos rolling again.
So the chaos became dominant?
Right,
Is that what you're
because
saying?
it became normal and my comfort zone, because at least I knew how to deal with it, because that's what I had been immersed in my whole upbringing, because there's those years, I think it's up to age 10, that are the formidable years. It basically sets all the patterns in our life, unless we take the actions as adults to rewrite the patterns. It's not like they're carved in stone. They are rewritable. But the other key thing about the subconscious is that it does not process negatives. So if you say, I will not be angry, your subconscious hears, I will be angry.
Yes, you're very correct about that, Sean. Your subconscious does not process negatives. So I want to point that out. You know, there's a lot of things on Facebook, for example, where people say, you know, like our page to stop this or stop that. And they don't understand why I won't go there and like their page. Because since our subconscious cannot process the negative, you are actually perpetuating that which you are trying to stop by adding energy to it.
Hmm.
Did you know that, Sean?
So,
Yeah.
so if there is something we want to stop or not do, we have to flip the script
To the pro,
to the
opposite.
pro. You know, if you say, I don't want to be broke, the positive is, I want to be wealthy.
Pro making money, pro being wealthy. I am pro being wealthy.
And even make it more
You
powerful when you're affirming that, like Cherie said, ask a question, because then your subconscious goes into action and says, okay, here's a problem, let's solve it. How do we solve it?
You have to asking the
Right.
right question in order for you to find
True.
the right solution. But let me say this to the three of you and the people on the sidebar too. You know, I mean, if I'm next to you, you might grab me by the neck and just say, "What are you talking
Never.
about?" But you know, for your journey, whatever you've gone through, I truly believe that your Creator or your God have some purpose for you, and you are going through the job training. They want you to go through all that in order, you know, in the not a mean way, but in order for you to have some compassion, you have some understanding in order for you to help others. Because see, you just cannot tell somebody trouble, and then you have no clue what they went through. The more I know about Sean, the more I love him. You know, just to molesting or whatever. That if you don't experience that, you cannot even beginning to understand it. And you know, whatever you've gone through is that your Creator said, you know, I have a great purpose for you. I put you on the job training because your life, you have purpose, and I have a mission for you. You know, you have to look at that. You have to look at the opportunities in your trouble, because you know, if you're looking for the positive stuff, you know, what lesson do I learn, and what is my Creator have purpose for me? You know,
Elizabeth says, don't feel guilty about the past and don't fret about the future. You can't undo what's already over, and you can't predict what's going to happen. Just live the best life you can each day. The rest will take care of itself. Thank you for that, Elizabeth.
woohoo! Raise the
Raise
roof.
the roof.
Raise the
Good
roof.
job.
Right.
And the way I love it, because it's stuck in my brain, it's very, you know, rhymes, poems, and songs, they stick in our brain a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yesterday is history, tomorrow's still a mystery, today is a gift, that's why they call it the present.
There you
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why they call it a present. Wow. Sean, that is powerful stuff.
go. Very, very powerful stuff.
And I have one more thing to share, and then I've got to run because I am actually 20 minutes late for a friendly call. And this quote actually was a major shift in my life, and you know, being able to move to the point of living outside of regret and being able to be where I am today. And the quote was, "The reconciled heart says that everything that happened to me had to happen in order to make me who I am today." It was profound.
True.
It was like
It was
made
training.
me do a 180. You know, right? You know, and believe me, you know, there was times when I prayed and I said, Lord, if there was an easier way to get through this and learn this lesson, I wish I could have done it. But if this is what it took for me to learn.
Well, now we finally really lost him.
Then that's
We
what it
lost
takes
Ken.
for me to learn. I'll just finish the sentence.
Yeah. Sean is he talking about from his own perspective and what he gone through. That when he share is such a powerful lesson. And even sometime that I have the title of the our blab is more. It's not. Hi, Elizabeth, but again thought provoking, just for you to think about that a little bit, to dig deep a little bit, because that's our life. Life is not that simple. If you take a look inside, the inward look inside, then you pretty much figure out who you are and what is, and that's what matters. Elizabeth,
I
how
am
are
doing
you? Good to have you
fantastic.
here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I am doing fantastic. I love the discussion. Hi, Jeremy. Haven't seen you in a little bit. And I totally agree with what you're talking about. When you can let go of the past, we do get angry. We forgive ourselves. That's okay. But it's becoming aware that you choose each day how you're going to live it, how you don't have to live in the past. And if we stop trying to worry about what's going to happen and just get into living in the present, enjoying the present moment, just like right now, enjoying the fact that you get to share with people from all over, enjoying the fact that you get inspired and you're ready to start the day. It's a fantastic feeling to be able to do that. And, that's why I love Blab. I love coming on and getting inspired and being able to start the day with a very positive spin and recognizing that I chose it. I could turn on the news and I could listen to all of the tragedies that are going on. Or I could turn to the Good News channel, which this is, and listen to people who are inspired, who are ready to let their light shine, who are ready to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe there's another way. I tend to be that person who always sees the glass as full, not half full, but full. That person who says, I'm a problem solver. If there is a problem, how can we correct it? Stuff happens, all right? But are you going to let the stuff affect you? Or are you going to choose to decide? And that's the whole thing. We have the power of choice. Are you going to choose to decide to make it a good day? My granddaughter and I have adopted this saying: today is a good day for a good day. And, when we start off, today is a good day for a good day, and if you start your day that way, it's exciting. We always start new and get out of our stuff. So.
Yeah, that's why gratitude is a very powerful thing. If you before you go to bed and in the morning you wake up with a great sense of gratitude, you be thankful for the thing you have, for your health, and for your feet touch the ground. And then to look in the mirror, that you see the person look back at you. And I always say that, if you look at the mirror and somebody look back at you and you like that person, you have it made. You are okay.
That's the start, to like the person in the mirror, first, because usually we react to that behavior that we see in others that we don't like in ourselves. Now, that's a big, powerful statement. But
Elizabeth, you're opening up a whole new can of worms.
But if you accept that, you can change yourself. You may not be able to change anybody else, but you can change yourself. You do have the power to change how you think. And when you realize that, you realize how powerful you really are. you know?
That exactly. If any situation, any result that you're making the decision, and then you have to facing the consequences of that decision. But if you take the ownership of it, you can change it. If you blame somebody else, you give up your power. I'd rather to have the power in my hand or in me, than I can make the difference. I can change. And that's very, very important to me. I never have a finger point at anyone else.
What do they say? When you point a finger at somebody else, 3 are pointing back at you?
Oh, yeah.
So, Michael Jackson's song, take a look in the mirror, and it's not.
That's a regret right there. No, Michael Jackson is a regret. I regret that I never took the time to go to one of his concerts. I grew up with Michael Jackson. That is a huge regret for me. I mean, I was 6 years old singing that dude's songs, and I think he was 6 years old singing them. And I never got to one of his concerts, and now he's gone.
But
anyway,
the good news is that his music lives forever. And if you begin to listen to some of the lyrics, they remind you of, he was a channel. He brought in a whole lot of great information. Besides being a great entertainer and singer, he really said some great things when you go back and listen to the lyrics. He really, wasn't.
I sing in the shower a lot, and my children keep on begging me not to sing anymore because they couldn't stand it, because I always sing the Broadway that I got no diamond, got no pearl, but I still think I'm a lucky girl.
Okay.
Sun in the morning and the moon at night. That's it for me.
Hey.
All right.
I sing very well in the shower, but I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, I'm getting a taste of your singing too. You should probably keep it in the shower. Anyway,
we all should share singing ability. Let's go.
Yeah, but I love it. I love that. I recognize that. Okay, I don't need to have diamonds. I don't need the the yacht. I don't need pearl. I still thinking that I'm a lucky girl.
That's hey.
You're a lucky girl.
And that's what makes you laugh. And laughter, again, lifts your vibration. And when it lifts your vibration, you can approach the day with a smile on your face.
Now look at this. We started out with a very serious subject, and now we're all giggling.
That's called success.
That's what it's called, a success. So I want to remind everybody for just a moment, Ha-Tran, we are at 12:32, so we're 2 minutes past our hour. So why don't you give a little wrap up, and we'll stop our recording. And let's remind everybody that we are here with Ha-Tran every Wednesday morning at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Ha for Hope, empowered by Hope.
Yes.
Author. See how we've gotten so confused with renaming this blab, and we're going to rename it Empowered by Hope with author Ha-Tran. Thanks you guys for joining us. Ha, go ahead and give us a wrap up.
Thank you very much for joining us, because I just want to remind you that you are matters. You are worth fighting for, and live your life with no regret. Let your vision guide you, and let your passion lead the way. Thank you. So I'm stopped recording right now.